Deducing the mystery of Longlegs is like trying to find a gas leak. The more you sniff around, the more poison you breathe, and the foggier your brain becomes, until it starts to seem like a good idea to just surrender and light a match. Every clue tangles meaning and madness. People are dying, but what even is the threat? What are we supposed to protect ourselves from? Consider the movie's brilliant first scene. It's certainly unsettling for a strange man to approach a young girl in her backyard and say a bunch of gibberish. But the real texture of the danger is buried in aesthetics. The red background and black letters of the opening credits. The poem we don't yet understand, written by someone named T-Rex. The playful, plucked string accompanying the little girl's POV shots. Wide, empty images of gnarled trees which contrast with the way too close framing of Longlegs. The most important parts of an actor's performance is usually the...
What's the most important part?
Okay. The most important parts of an actor's performance is usually the face and hands, but here they keep weaving out of sight. Everything about these choices scream that something big is happening, even as they push us away.
It seems I wore my long legs today. What happens if I...
When Nicolas Cage finally ducks down into frame and reveals the face of Longlegs, the music treats it like a jump scare, even though he's not doing anything.
What happens if I...
We see him for only a split second before the red and black blasts back, as if the briefest glimpse of the truth was already more than we can handle. Until the end, the entire movie functions this way. Every step forward feels like a punishment. After that first scene, we meet our protagonist, Lee Harker, and things seem to settle into more familiar tropes. A killer's on the loose, and the FBI needs to find him.
Just like in the movies.
Just like in the movies. Except then we are immediately plunged back into the unknown with this shot that somehow finds a way to make a boring suburban house look like a vampire's castle. All triangles and trees that look like flames. For no logical reason, Harker knows the killer is in this house and is proven right when her skeptical partner is shot in the face seconds after knocking on the door. Harker's psychic abilities are then tested by the FBI with a series of exercises that requires her to assert meaning to a barrage of nonsense images. She beats the test 8 times, but as she says, I also missed it 8 times. In this world, 50% comprehension is about as good as it's gonna get. There are so many shots of Harker looking into the darkness and not finding anything. Interiors are often swallowed by shadow, with only a single light source barely keeping the characters from disappearing into the dark, in the same way that Satan's dolls disappear under black blankets.
Because you are the dark.
I've seen this film compared a lot with The Silence of the Lambs, because both stories are about a woman FBI agent trying to decipher cryptic clues to catch a serial killer. The Silence of the Lambs is ultimately a much more comforting tale. Agent Starling is able to bring answers out of the abyss and restore order. In Longlegs, the more Harker learns, the more her world unravels. There is the feeling that the status quo is chaos and cruelty. The world seems to be an eternal sunset, with all the trees in deep shadow. We often look through the windows of moving cars as if the glass and steel were protecting us from a writhing wilderness. The murder weapon turns out to be a doll, and there's a moment where the doll's face dissolves into the face of Longlegs, who is himself Satan's plaything, as is everyone in this movie, especially Longlegs, Harker, and her mother, who on several occasions share similar visual framing as if they were interchangeable. A whole world of dolls, easy to manipulate and easier to dispose of. Satan's victims speak in a voice barely above a whisper, as if to disassociate from a whole lifetime of pain. This only makes Nicolas Cage's over-the-top performance all the more wrong, even as it also feels kind of right. Save me from the hell of living.
Save me from the hell of living!
As damned as he surely must be, it's hard not to think that he was smart to take what he can get from the devil while he can, because everyone else is in the same boat anyway. The word Longlegs makes me think of Daddy Longlegs, and Longlegs does wind up being a kind of daddy when it's revealed that Harker was basically hypnotized into forgetting that he lived in her single mother's basement for much of her upbringing. To my mind, a daddy and a father are two different roles. A father protects and guides his child, while a daddy goofs and giggles. These two roles can and really should be filled by the same person, but sometimes you only get one or the other. Agent Starling is lucky enough to find a twisted father figure in Hannibal Lecter, someone to guide her through all the madness. Longlegs is a daddy who destroys fathers.
Or rather,
Fatherhood itself, the very idea that it's even possible for a protector to draw lines in the sand around what the forces of evil cannot touch. Longlegs defiles fatherhood by turning these fathers against their own families. Even the president is saxophone-playing, womanizing Bill Clinton, a daddy president if there ever was one. He smiles as if he's in on some dirty little secret, seeming to look at the audience the way Longlegs looks beyond the TV during his interrogation. There's any number of YouTube videos pointing out all the shots where Satan hides in the fringes of this movie. This is more than an Easter egg. It's a subtle assertion that every inch of this world belongs to Satan. The FBI is powerless to enforce the law because the only laws that matter are the weird whimsies of Satan. Harker only finds clues that are deliberately left for her to find. Even her thoughts are not her own. God is nowhere to be found. One of his priests, or one of his fathers, if you will, gets an axe to the face right under a crucifix. Harker's mother is at first only a voice on the phone, constantly badgering her to pray. But then when she finally appears on screen, the first thing she does is cackle at her own advice.
No, our prayers don't help us.
We later learn she does Satan's bidding while dressed as a nun, and God doesn't seem to mind enough to interfere. Unfortunately, I think the ending is the weakest part of the movie. The individual beats of it are quite good, but it feels rushed and plagued by distracting contrivances. Where are all the other birthday guests? Why doesn't Harker shoot the doll immediately? Why does Harker just sit there while her hypnotized boss murders his wife? The image that is seared into my brain as the true climax of this film is that of a mother clinging in fear to her daughter, staring into the dark with a terrible knowledge, a knowledge that we are now burdened with. The true horror of Longlegs is not in the whos or the hows, but the why. Harker's mother helps Satan slaughter families to protect her daughter's soul, and she has to watch it happen every time. It's a horrible choice, but one that isn't so hard to imagine myself making for my own son, maybe. I don't know. It's a horrible choice because it's not a choice at all. A doll can't negotiate with a child's hand. There is no higher power to appeal to. Love rarely offers protection from evil in horror films, but at the very least, the evil often lurks beneath a brighter, safer world. Not here. This world is cold and cruel. It's a place where families and minds are swallowed without protest or sorrow. Where a mother's love can become so tainted by the blood of children that the daughter she was trying to save is forced to shoot her in the head. And even in this act of rebellion, Harker has no agency. The gun she fires at the doll is empty. Daddy still wants to play.
Hail Satan.